What is going on, all of you funky, fresh skaters out there in the world? I am Mega Am, so thank you for watching this YouTube video, whether you are a new or returning viewer. Appreciate you stopping by. And today, I wanted to tackle a subject that's been on my mind for the last couple of years since it was originally officially announced, and that is Sega's new Jet Set Radio game, and how I'm a little skeptical of it at this moment. Now, this is coming from someone who's played all the other Jet Set Radio games, unless you include like the one on GBA that was very different from the Dreamcast version, or maybe it was Future. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. Anyways, I played the main games in this series and really enjoy them. They have a sense of style to them that a lot of other games have not captured. But back in 2023, the Game Awards that year, Sega announced a bunch of their IP were coming back. We've seen one of those games, Shinobi, actually release already just about a month ago as of this upload. But one of those games in particular is Jet Set Radio. And we see here in this little segment, this is the whole trailer that they released for all of these games. But there seems to be some promise here with just like the graphical style, the skating around and everything. And there seems to be some parkour in the city. Professor K seems to be back, or maybe a new DJ with a new design here. And since this announcement, there have also been details about the game maybe being like a live service game somehow, almost like an open world, which I'm not exactly sure how. I mean, I could see that working, but I'm curious to see how that they actually end up implementing it when it comes out, if it's even true. There's a lot of unknowns when it comes to, I mean, a lot of these games they're reviving, but including the Jet Set Radio clip here. It's just, in the year, currently the year 2025, we know this game is far from coming out. Maybe it comes out like 2027, might be my guess. It just makes me wonder, like, does this game stand a chance in today's modern day and age? Because, you know, Sega's trying to revive a lot of their IP by giving these games to other studios, as we've seen with Lizard Cube getting both Shinobi, that game was apparently really, really good, and Streets of Rage 4, another great example of them reviving that series. They also worked on like at least one of the Wonder Boy newer games, which was an interesting franchise to choose. So they seem to be willing to lend out some of their IP to other studios. I don't know. I imagine Jet Set Radio is probably internal, though. I imagine that's not one of those cases, but who knows? We really don't know a lot of details about the new Jet Set Radio yet as of this upload. And, you know, you might be asking yourself, like, oh, like, the fact that this is coming back, why are you not more excited? I'm excited to see Jet Set Radio come back. However, it's really hard to really be super interested in this new game, mainly because, case in point, Bomb Rush Cyberfunk and the newly announced Hyperfunk, which we'll get into in a second here. Team Reptile literally picking up the slack where Sega hadn't been making a Jet Set Radio forever. If you don't know, Team Reptile was the team behind the Lethal League games, but a couple years ago, as of this upload, they released Bomb Rush Cyberfunk, which was announced back in like 2021, I want to say, which very much, there's a character in Lethal League Blaze, the game before this, that was very much inspired by Jet Set Radio, clearly literally named Jet. So clearly they had a lot of love for Jet Set Radio as a series, and they went and made their own spiritual successor in the form of Bomb Rush Cyberfunk, which, if you didn't watch my review video a couple of years ago when this game came out, this has become one of my favorite games of all time. I think I ended up making it my game of the year 2023, I'm pretty sure, or it was close to it. Maybe I didn't. It was close, because that was also Hi-Fi Rush. Literally, in my opinion, Bomb Rush Cyberfunk exceeds what those original Jet Set Radio games set out to be. Now, obviously, that is up for debate. In almost every single way, I think Bomb Rush Cyberfunk surpasses what the original Jet Set Radio did with just the game. The core gameplay is very smooth. I would argue it's easier to control. It's much smoother. I mean, being a modern game, you would expect that. But also, not only do you have skates, you have bikes and skateboards in this game to do tricks off of. They kind of add the Tony Hawk trick system. Graffiti is more customizable and easier to spray than ever. There's way more of a story going on here that I actually found pretty engaging. The music is fantastic. I mean, the original Jet Set Radio, shout out to Hideki Naganuma, of course, who came back for Bomb Rush Cyberfunk to compose a few tracks. This game is fantastic. This is a game I revisit every once in a while when I need like a comfort game to go back to. This is that game. The modding scene for this game that Team Reptile supports is also crazy. Now, Sega's also been historically pretty good when it comes to the modding scene, especially with like Sonic mods and ROM hacks. But I imagine they would be with Jet Set Radio as well, depending on what happens with that. But we don't know as of now. As of this upload, we have no idea. This game just feels so good to play in motion. It is very, very solid, very fun. The one area I will say that I would argue maybe Jet Set Radio exceeds Bomber Cyberfunk is just its absolute like zaniness, like I don't even know how to describe it. Like it has a personality to it that's very wacky, very goofy, very Dreamcast era Sega days. That here's the thing, I really do not think Sega would be pulling out in the modern day. And let's kind of dive into that a little more. Let me pull up the Hyperfunk trailer though, because this was announced earlier today as of this recording, actually, not upload. I'll probably be uploading this the next day. But this seems to be building off of what Bomber Cyberfunk set. Same art style, probably same engine, new characters and everything, but really seems to be emphasizing more of a bigger open city that you can explore online with friends, which I don't think you could do in Bomber Cyberfunk. Correct me if I'm wrong about that, but it seems to be really emphasizing group-based gameplay with online modes from what we know of so far. This is just a teaser, and this looks way faster paced than Bomber Cyberfunk. I guess the idea on their Steam page, they list the more tricks and combos you do, the faster you go, and there seems to be this sort of hyper mode that you can do, hence the Hyperfunk. So I think this is a brand new game. I don't think this is like an expansion to Bomber Cyberfunk. I could be wrong, but it really seems like they're going all out with this and really giving you that sense of speed and like keeping that same sense of style. I hope the soundtrack's fantastic. I hope Hideki Naganuma comes back to compose at least one track here, but obviously it's very still very early on. This is just a teaser for this game. Who knows when this will come out? I mean, Bomber Cyberfunk took a couple years after announcement at least to come out, so I imagine this will be a similar sense. But in that case, we might be seeing this game and the new Jet Set Radio release around the same time. Like, that is definitely possible. And this is why I'm like going back to the original point of this video. Like, I don't know how Sega will be able to compete, because if you are a Jet Set Radio fan and if you have not played Bomber Cyberfunk, I mean, what are you doing? It's an indie game, fantastic. Team Reptile did a fantastic job. Put down whatever you're doing and go play it. It is fantastic, and Hyperfunk looks to be building off of that original game in a lot of really, really cool ways, with definitely a bigger sense of speed and like openness too, as you can see here. So it looks like it's really going to be building well off of that foundation. I'm excited to see what they do, but at the same time, I'm really excited for this. But like, why do we need another Jet Set Radio? You know what I mean? Like I said, like the one thing to me that Jet Set Radio still has over Bomber Cyberfunk is that zaniness, the goofiness, the weird vibes to it. This Bomber Cyberfunk takes itself a little more seriously than Jet Set Radio does, which maybe Hyperfunk will change. I kind of doubt it, but who knows? They're really going for like the cool factor with Bomber Cyberfunk and Hyperfunk, supposedly, whereas Jet Set Radio is still cool in its own way, but it's also not afraid to be goofy. With some of its just vibes going on. And that is a Sega Dreamcast and Saturn era staple, like personality trait of that company. But here's the thing, is that Sega is not that company anymore. Sega has changed a lot, and I think if they're going to be bringing back Jet Set Radio into the modern age, I don't see them bringing back that same goofiness and wackiness. So I'm curious exactly how the new Jet Set Radio will stack up to like Hyperfunk, for example, right? Especially if the rumors about live service are true. Is that going to entice players, or are players going to be satisfied with having Hyperfunk have this fully online mode that they seem to be hyping up with this game? Like, that's the thing. It's like, if it comes down to Hyperfunk versus the new Jet Set Radio, I have way more faith in Hyperfunk, because I mean, Bomber Cyberfunk proved that Team Reptile is capable of creating a spiritual successor, and honestly, in my opinion, surpassing the original. So I don't really know what to think of the new Jet Set Radio, honestly. It's tricky for me to say how I feel, because I feel like the only thing Sega has going for it is the IP name. And do I trust modern Sega to do Jet Set Radio justice? I mean, they're not going to get Hideki Naganuma back. There was a falling out between Sega and them that, I don't know. I don't think Sega likes to reach out to Naganuma-san anymore. So I don't know if they'll even get him back, and he's definitely like a part of the series that Team Reptile has certainly respected and picked back up. I don't know. It's hard for me to be really excited for that new Jet Set Radio game when Team Reptile is out here fulfilling that niche for me personally. And like I said, if you're a Jet Set Radio fan and you have not played Bomber Cyberfunk, do yourself a favor and try to at least check it out. It's not an expensive game, and it's really, really fun. I don't know. It just, to me, it's like almost superior to Jet Set Radio. And it feels great. It looks great. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm very cautious and hesitant about the new Jet Set Radio. I don't even know when we're going to hear about it next. I don't think we've heard much about it lately. You know, I don't know what Sega game's coming out next. Now that Shinobi's out, Sega hasn't really said much. They're reviving all these IP, but the only one that actually came to fruition was Shinobi. And I mean, thankfully, Shinobi ended up being fantastic from what I've heard. I still have yet to play it. But Lizard Cube seemed to have done a good job with that. But Jet Set Radio is, I think, the one I'm most cautious about, mainly because, you know, I love Jet Set Radio as just a concept in a series of games, and I love Rush Cyberfunk, and I want Jet Set Radio to be good, but I don't know if I trust modern Sega to do it. I hope it'll at least be okay, but I don't see it competing with Rush Cyberfunk and Hyperfunk for me. I don't, you know, unless they do something that completely is going to wow players. I don't know. You know, I'm definitely hesitant about it, but that's kind of all I could really have to talk about with this video. I just wanted to kind of, mainly I wanted to highlight Hyperfunk and Rush Cyberfunk once again, because they are fantastic games. And, you know, just, it's tough. Like, you know, maybe I'm being too pessimistic here, but I don't know how to feel about the new Jet Set Radio when a game like this already exists and will exist, maybe even before it comes out. I don't know. You know, we don't know when it's coming out, the new Jet Set Radio, so hopefully we'll find out in the near future. But with that, everybody, I think that's going to do it for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Have you played Rush Cyberfunk? How did you feel about it? Are you excited for Hyperfunk? And what do you think about that new Jet Set Radio game? Do you think it's going to be good? Do you think it's going to bomb Rush Cyberfunk, if anything? Let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I will catch you all in the next video or live stream. Until then, stay funky. I'll see you later.